Good evening. Welcome to
Hello.
Monday Night Musings with Joy and Kelly Bonsall. I'm Uma
Hi.
and I am here with Kelly. Thanks for being here, Kelly. And I'm
Yes.
excited for tonight. Just in a little bit for those of you that are with us, whether it is live time or you listen to it later. I did a workshop yesterday. That's actually the first in-person workshop that I have done since COVID. And so almost 2 years. And as many of you know, Kelly and I have done a number of um, workshops together on Zoom, and both of us have done some things on our own. But this is the first one in a while that was in person, and it was such a delight. And it was a very powerful one. The workshop we did yesterday was House of the Heart, and it's a concept about belonging and what is the house of the heart and being at home wherever you are. And Kelly and I have actually done that workshop together online and variations of that in our conversations. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit tonight and the whole concept of house of the heart and belonging. And it's so up right now with doing this yesterday and people's responses. And so, Kelly, I invite you to weigh in, and I also want to welcome Guru Dharam. It's nice to see you
Hi.
here with us tonight, and looks like a couple of other people are with us at this point. So, if you want to
Yay.
say hi in the chat, we would love to know who's here, and you are welcome to make comments throughout of what your response to any of our conversation is. So, to you, Kelly.
I'm so happy that you got to teach that workshop in person. And that's such just the thought of the concept of belonging and being able to be part of something in person with other, like actual bodies there, experiencing that just sounds incredible. I mean, and I think it's always been incredible, and it sounds even more just like such a gift, right
Mm.
now. And I'm just so happy for you and for everyone who got to attend that. And it's interesting the idea of belonging. And I've been thinking lately because I'm just kind of in still not really having much. I mean, I work and I'm around people a lot, but just this idea of belonging and belonging to like a group with other, you know, people, or belonging to yourself, or belonging to your truth, or um just sort of like really thinking about that whole like what really makes me feel like whole and at home, and in that like that place that like I know what that feels like to be in the house of my heart.
Mhm.
And yet when I think about belonging, I feel like I'm not there because I don't have this, like I'm like missing some kind of community or connection or something
Mhm.
that I think I'm supposed to have. And then I wonder, is it that I'm needing to reach out more and connect more because I'm not putting myself out there? Or maybe the belonging that I need right now is with the people that I have, the few people, you and the connections that I have that are so strong and where I know I belong, and then to my own becoming that is taking place right now, and that place like right in me. And I don't have, it's not like I've figured it out. I'm kind of still like on that, like where but the thought of being with a group of people sharing a creative experience and talking about belonging and this whole process of intentional creativity, like I mean, like that's my that's like the group that I want to start, connecting with, and not feel like just because I don't fit in with this particular group at like this birthday party that I took my kid to, like doesn't mean that I'm something's wrong with me, kind of thing, or that I'm not belonging, or I don't belong, or as if that makes sense. So yeah, that like just hearing that word like brought up a lot.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I read something today, and I wish I remembered the name of the person that it came from. Um, but the words, and this was actually even after the workshop yesterday. Well, to go back, I mean, the sense of where House of the Heart started from a long time ago is, people having the sense that they don't belong. Some people saying, "Oh, I was dropped off at the wrong house down the street by the stork, and I never have fit into this, this, and this." And this quote was, "The average person lives life as an illusion of perceived separation from others, from their environment and the world itself. And this illusion takes its toll with the result of continued stress. And when that stress is on the body, the whole thing about what stress does in making us, the immune system goes down, and all of these hormone things, get wacko, and we go out of balance or out of harmony with mind, body, heart, soul, spirit. And we want so much in terms of that connection with somebody else's spirit, and yet we have to start with the connection with our own soul. And so that's, yes, as human beings, I do believe that we are meant to be together. And can we start with just really connecting with that soul of our own, so that we have we keep that energy moving and not get blocked in with, a stuck energy that can't get through that feeling of isolation, which takes us down a hole of depression or takes us down a hole of all sorts of other things.
Yeah.
It's not a judgment. We're in these human bodies, and we're all working on finding our way. But
Yeah.
that's kind of some of the thoughts that I've been having, especially the last
Yeah.
couple days. And that particular workshop came up just almost as a spontaneous thing. I had a friend who was really struggling with where does she belong and moving and all of this stuff. And simultaneously, a new friend was staying with my son and myself. Um, and he helped me put up some shelves, and we had talked about my art. And I said, "Well, you want to go in the studio and see some of the pieces, at least to know what I'm talking about?" And you and I had done House of the Heart in the fall. That canvas was still in here. And so I pulled up, "Oh, and this is here. I'm talking about it and what it was all about." Went in the house, and this other friend who was struggling, and something came up. She had just gotten off the phone with someone about, where does she belong? And it's like, let's just do this. And it all just came together in a couple of days, and here it was.
That's
Um,
wonderful.
it was sweet. It was just a joyful opportunity to connect, and for everybody to realize, like we talk about with, oops, it's in the house, my red thread, and our red thread connection, we are not alone. And so, can we connect with ourselves first
Yeah.
and know that we're never alone? And with, yes, our community, Mother Earth, this environment, home in the mountains, home wherever you are. Um, so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. There's so much that, I'm like, how much do I, share? Because it like brings up things for me about, like, I feel like sometimes when I'm doing a process or the work, or loving myself to connect to myself and connect to my spirit, because I feel like that is what I really need. And through intentional creativity, there's like so many little things that have like been healed and moved and transformed, and I can like feel that. Um, and then sometimes I wonder if I'm like putting, like you said something about like when that quote that you're reading, about putting, you didn't say like walls, but it was like putting up or isolating ourselves or something that's like not connecting us.
But we have perceived separation from
Perceived
others and
separation, yes.
illusion. There is no separateness.
Right. And so when I hear that and I think about like my concerns, I realize that like me loving my spirit and connecting with my spirit does not mean, it's not like either that or that, like it doesn't mean that because there is no separation. We are all one. We are all connected.
Yeah.
And it's like I know that, and it's like I know that it's like my ego or it's not my spirit that feels it when I'm like, oh, well, they didn't like what I said, or I didn't act the right way, or I wasn't, they don't get me, or, something like that. And it's interesting because, and this is kind of going a little bit, and this could be a whole other thing, but I've talked a little bit about like my sobriety. And when I first remember choosing to like drink alcohol, like to be social or whatever, and it was because I felt so separate and so disconnected. And like that gave me, and I know that I'm not alone in this. I know that this is like why a lot of people do a lot of different things to, and I felt like, oh, okay, now I can connect. Now I can see the connection that we all have, and okay, and whatever, like loosened up. And so I think that like since that first time, like I have really relied on that to help me feel connected, not just in social situations, but like connected to, my partner, and connected to like all, in so many ways. And so now that I've removed that for a significant amount of time, I feel like I'm like back at that place where I felt disconnected. And when I made that choice to like, well, this is one way I can be connected. So it's almost like I had like, but now I'm like right back to like where I was before I started using alcohol. And I'm not, because I've learned so much and I've grown so much and I have so many more tools. I'm not, like a 15-year-old kid or whatever. Um, but that's just like I'm having that realization today. And so I think it's really interesting talking about belonging, because I feel like there's just like a little bit more that I need to like, oh, like kind of figure out. And hearing you say that about that we're not separate, I can imagine like showing up in like a situation that I was in this weekend that was not a big deal. It was just my head spinning, and just feeling that like there is no separation, and I could have just relaxed into enjoying like my fellow earthlings being there. Who cares what we do or who we are, or like,
Yeah.
rather than like analyzing, do I fit in here, are these my people, did I say, like it would have been a whole different experience. So I thank you for that, and for witnessing and listening to my my connections that I'm figuring out through this whole idea of belonging. Like I think I'm going to do House of the Heart soon again,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
with these processes you just can learn so much over and over and over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I was thinking about that today, that yes, doing it anytime, and that might be something that we want to do a co offering here coming up shortly. And
Yeah.
I want to again acknowledge, so the numbers of who's here kind of changes in and out. So if you're joining us, we would love to hear what belonging means to you, or what house of the heart. When we say those words, what does it feel to be at home in your heart? So very interested in what your thoughts and feelings are, if you want to share that in the chat. And if you're watching this at a later time, we still check the chat, in this Facebook page, and always love seeing your comments.
Yeah.
So as we're giving people a chance to write that, and we can come back to that in a minute, but it made me, I was asked yesterday how many times I have done that workshop, and often when I did, well, prior to our current pandemic situation, um, often I would have all of my previous House of the Heart paintings, there to share, and they're still in my shed because I haven't had the space to unload everything yet. But anyway, so I was kind of guessing 8 or more times, and it made me think about you, Kelly, and I was curious, what's your favorite workshop to offer?
I think that I really enjoy offering the art journaling, the intuitive art journaling. Um,
Mhm.
and I enjoy teaching painting, but I think I enjoy that more like the 13th step, like muse face.
Uh-huh.
But I think that that is like being in person with that experience, which I haven't had an opportunity to do very many times, but
Mhm.
I look forward to that. Um, but just based on my time of really teaching intentional creativity has been mostly online. And what I enjoy about the art journaling is that I think that there's a freedom and a letting go that happens because it's a page and it's not a canvas and like like which there's magic to that, like taking that on.
Yeah.
um and in my own personal practice, like teaching that and sharing that, I've realized how the benefits of having like an art journaling practice, like
Yeah.
what that really has brought into my life and what I've seen it do in the lives of, our beloveds. And I think of people who have worked with us or worked with me when I was doing it before, with a different group. And I hope that those that are no longer like doing with us still have that practice if it's not consistent, but that it's there, that it's something that they, it's like a thing that you can always pull out
Mhm.
and process and be an inquiry. And there's just so many possibilities and you kind of never know where it's really going to go. And um there's like enough structure to make it feel safe and doable. We're not just like taking a brand new person who's never tried anything like
Yeah.
this, but there's the freedom for it to like become its own thing. And I've been thinking lately about putting together something, with like all the art journaling, the prompts and the images and the things that we've done, and making like a deck of cards with like inquiries or something, because there's just been so much.
Yeah.
And to teach it, to be in community around it, but then also to be able to have something to give, or to, for people to have that,
Mm.
you can do it, on your own and still feel connected, to the red thread, and that this is a process that others are doing. So
That's a
yeah.
great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a very powerful process. I mean, I wasn't doing much of it before you and I started working together, and so I haven't had as long with the journey. But we've been doing this over a year now.
Yeah.
You're in 3 or 4 months or something. So
Yeah.
it's definitely been a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And acknowledging we're about at our 20 minute mark. I could go on and on, other workshops that I've loved offering, but I talked with my son, and it's like, the space that we have in the house while we're waiting for the studio out back to be completed, it's like there's no reason why I can't do some in person here. And so I'm excited to do that and offer that to the community of Taos and surrounding area, and um, yeah, let people
Yes.
know what I do, what a concept.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
all
exciting.
right.
Yes.
Well, thank you for those of you that have joined us live, and those of you that will be watching us on the replay. And we are all connected, and we aren't alone. And so we're with you, and much love to you. Kelly and I will be continuing our Thursday night creative musings um, with our journal, as Kelly was just speaking of. And so that's on Thursday nights. And there's all sorts of other stuff that's percolating in the field that we'll be letting you know about very soon. So, um, thank you, Tony. Thank you for joining
Thank
us as
you.
well. And much love to all. Kelly, it's always good to be with you.
Yes, you too.
Okay.
Good night. Thank you.